Hi guys, welcome back. Kaze here. We're back with ending one of Disney's Princess War Story Love Story with Nobunaga. So we have our epilogue and ending A to complete. First chapter being Rain in Blood. And as a heads up again, remember we have Hanabe coming up after the endings and the extras are finished. Just heads up. Alright, anyway, let's go. Strange things started to happen as soon as we started heading back to the castle. I was exhausted and rode the same horse as Nobunaga. As I nodded off, Masamune disappeared. Next was Kotaro. The vassals were uneasy and panicked. They started to remember. Didn't the feudal lord pass away? Who's that? At that time, I looked at Nobunaga without fully understanding the situation. Nobunaga? Don't worry. Nobunaga calmed me down and smiled. He whipped the horse and yelled, "Hurry! Don't get left behind!" The vassals obeyed his orders. It must have been natural for them to do so. Something made them want to follow his orders. Nobunaga didn't give them any chance to doubt his forceful order. And then, for a moment, I didn't know what we were going to do. Several months after the castle fell, Nobunaga and I left the castle and stayed in a mountain temple. Near the temple was a small waterfall with beautiful water. I was bathing in its waters. How did we get here? Everyone forgot about you, Nobunaga. You got to stay here, but what should we do now? I told you not to worry, didn't I? As you can see, we may do. Nobunaga sat on the edge of a rock and watched me wash my hair. Jeez, don't stare at me like that. We didn't lose anything. Once everyone's done mourning, we can celebrate. Soon we'll be married, and you don't need to be embarrassed. Her wedding. When I thought about that, I couldn't help but smile. It happened right after we returned to the burned-down castle. The vassals left there survived without injury. For a while, they had a tough time as the demons invaded, but Yukimura revealed a secret passage that everyone used to escape. He disappeared soon after. Everyone completely forgot about him. They told each other that the princess, my real brother's spirit, had saved them. The situation with Nobunaga was complicated. People completely forgot him or had a faint memory of him. Nobunaga spoke in front of all of them. I was called here by this household's ancestors as the messenger from the heavens. Huh? I was shocked and Nobunaga proudly puffed out his chest. I came here to this world risking my life to save from distress. No, Nobunaga wasn't listening to anything I said. He closed his eyes and spread his arms and spoke. Once my job was done, I should have been erased from your memories and returned to heaven. But I couldn't just watch this nation's people suffer. I wished to stay in this world. I could no longer interject. I didn't know how far he had planned his speech, but the sun shined on his back as he stretched out his arms, making him look like a deity. I'm sure some of you remember, but I saved you all. Now, I'll become lord of this castle and marry the princess. I'll lead you for all eternity. For their eternity, anyway. Well, then again, thankfully, since everyone forgot, they stopped complaining about us being father and daughter. Honestly, for a moment, I didn't know what was going to happen. I came out of the basin under the waterfall and Nobunaga wrapped me in a cloth. You said the same thing before. That was because whenever I think about it, I get a chilly feeling inside. At that time, some of the men just barely remembered me. That was why I rushed back. If I let the opportunity go, it would have made things even more of a hassle. That's true. I put my hand on Nobunaga's shoulder and sat on his knee. A few months later, we had restrained the nearby nations in various ways and had come this far. Today we stay at a temple near a nation's border to settle our dispute with them. I just had a very twitchy finger. I'm so sorry. Nobunaga had built a firm foothold inside the castle. At the same time, we let neighboring countries think he was a fool while engaging in difficult guidance tasks. The fool only took a few troops and his newfound bride out with him. It was early autumn, but during the winter the roads near the border were closed off by snow. If we wanted to attack, it had to be now. To avoid attention, we unified the men and went to a fort. Kyogoku's in the palm of our hands, isn't it? There's a 50-50 chance they might suspect it's a trap and come for us. All we have to do is wait. I kissed Nobunaga. You're such a bad girl. Nobunaga chuckled and rubbed my back. We took a brief break. If Nobunaga saw any kind of movement, he would have to depart immediately. This place looked like a rustic temple, but it was actually a strong storage house for weapons and food. Nobunaga ordered it to be that way. He was also being considerate of me during our stay here. It had been several months since my relatives had died. I thought they were going to say I was pregnant. I was like, oh, this is definitely different. I still hadn't held a memorial service for them. I realized I was secretly worried about it. That was the reason why this had also become a journey to bury them. I was finally able to build gravestones for them. It's a good thing the Buddhist priests here don't say anything about the weapons stored here. After we returned to the waterfall, Nobunaga drank from a cup and spoke in good humor. He was afraid of looking out of place, so he was drinking tea, not alcohol. Does that mean your world Buddhist priests had weapons? Yeah, they gathered money, troops, and weapons. They're harder than any nation to deal with. You seem to talk about that place an awful lot recently. Nobunaga gradually regained his memories from his original world. He didn't remember everything, but he started to compare our two worlds more often. Nobunaga laughed abruptly and lifted my chin up. Don't look so sad. I won't go back there. I wouldn't leave you alone. Do you promise? Yes, I swear to you. Nobunaga brought his face closer to kiss me. We can't. I pushed his face aside and Nobunaga bent his mouth as if he was pouting. What's with that? You were fine doing it outside a while ago. We can't do it at the temple. This is a place of purity, after all. Don't be so strict. If I have to go to a battle, we won't see each other for a while. What? Nobunaga pushed me out of the floor and hung himself over me. Oh, okay. Temple, remember temple. Don't do that here. Indeed, I told you we can't. Buddha is very forgiving. This means nothing to him. Nobunaga laughed and undid my clothes. Oh, okay. My lord. My lord. We heard a voice on the door facing the veranda just as we were about to kiss. I swear that was so tactless. He spoke to me softly and sharply questioned the person outside. What is it? It looks like the Kyogoku clan is making their move. I'll be right there. Nobunaga stood up and fixed his clothes and went toward the door. When Nobunaga put his hand on the door, it happened. What happened? Nobunaga suddenly stopped moving. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Nobunaga? From the back of his kimono, I saw a bump rise upward. Oh, God, what's happening? From the back of his kimono, I saw a bump rise upward. Next, a bloody sword grew out of it. I realized it was a spearhead after I stood up and rushed over to him. Nobunaga! The spear came out. Nobunaga looked at me. His chest was drenched in blood. When I put my arm out towards him, Don't come here! It's all right. Nobunaga squeezed out his voice and pushed me away. Another spear protruded out of his chest. The spear was drawn out again. The door bent after Nobunaga ran into it. Oh no! No! Nobunaga slowly slid down and plopped onto the floor. Ah! Nobunaga's head hung. I crawled toward him. My clothes became bloody as I took his hand. Nobunaga's chest painfully moved up and down. He was still breathing. Please, endure the pain for a little while. I'll bring a doctor quickly. I tried to get up, but Nobunaga grabbed my arm. It's fine. But it's fine. I can't be saved. What are you saying? I remembered. What? Nobunaga smiled in a peculiar way. Then something very strange happened. Flames started to wrap around our connected hands. Nevertheless, they weren't hot at all. I looked around. The scenery suddenly changed to a battlefield with heaps of corpses all around. An arrow pierced through the broken wall. One area was a sea of blood. The pages and military commanders were on the floor. I was seeing a burning house, but everything looked a little different. This wasn't the mountain temple we were just in. That's right. Now I remember. What's happening? What's happening? I set fire to a temple and took my own life. That's when I was summoned to your world. What the hell? That's the crappiest moment. Nobunaga was smiling. It's my destiny. It can't be changed. It was just a short reverie. Blood spilled from his lips. Nobunaga! My beloved was sinking into a sea of blood, and yet all I could do was hold his hand in panic. Keep on living. Nobunaga breathed heavily and tightly, held my hand as he spoke. A female ruler isn't such a bad thing. These are things I couldn't fulfill. I can't! No! No! Did you tell me you wouldn't leave me alone? I grabbed both his arms and came close to his cheek. I'm about to cry. This is not cool. This is mean! Come on. Don't cry like that. There's nothing wrong about my promise. I'm about to I'm trying to do this without crying. Oh God. I'll always be by your side. Oh, it's too late. Nobunaga stopped speaking. Nobunaga? Nobunaga kept smiling to comfort me as he closed his eyes. Nobunaga! I was holding Nobunaga's hands, and they suddenly started to fade away. They turned into something like mist. It became transparent and light. Ah! I panicked and reached out my hand. However, it passed through Nobunaga's hand and hit the floor. Nobunaga had completely disappeared. No! I covered my face with my hands. All of a sudden, the scenery changed back to normal. In the bright afternoon sun, there was 2 holes in the door along with traces of blood. A puddle of blood was still on the floor, but Nobunaga was nowhere to be seen. He's gone! After hearing that voice, I realized there were people next to me. Was this caused by something other than a human? Uh-huh. The princess had been seduced this whole time. Oh, hell no, don't go there. Oh. I lifted my head and absently stared at the spears in their hands. There was blood on the spearheads. What? They did it? What the fuck? It was dripped onto my hands on the floor. It was Nobunaga's blood. Did you people do this? When I spoke, they were surprised and bowed down on the ground. What? After hearing the uproar, other vassals started to gather around. With all due respect, the first vassal who spoke to me, taught to me as he bowed to the floor. We did this in order to save you and our country. Oh, hell no. Off with your heads. That's right. That man was the fiend who tricked us and took the late castle lord's role. He was a tyrannical man who acted arbitrarily and oppressed us vassals. He was about as old as your parents. He was deceiving you, princess. Somehow, please calm yourself and listen to our words. They frantically defended themselves. I see. So that's why you attacked. Because that tyrant seduced me? I spoke quietly. Raise your heads. I raised their heads in dismay. They might have felt astonished as they attempt to stay calm. They looked up at my smiling face and let their shoulders drop in relief. Loyalty. Were you the only people who were involved in this act? Was this your idea alone? Yes, ma'am, it was just us two, but that... They looked at each other and defended themselves. We have close ties with the Gogoku clan. Oh, with the Gogoku, Oh, no, please don't misunderstand. We didn't plan a coup. Our nation's exhausted from fighting demons. We thought we could be a good ally with Gogoku. We played our case to Nobunaga several times, but he never listened to us. Oh, you poor things. What did he tell you? Well, he sent an excuse to be lazy, and he said he'd kill us if we spoke of it again. I see. It's just like him to say that. I mumbled. It was truly like Nobunaga. The scenery from that place came through my thoughts. He was a swindler. I had wanted to believe you were being seduced by him. Please, princess, help the Gogoku clan and bring us peace. It is for your own good. They put their foreheads onto the ground once more. They questioned the other vassals who had gathered and had been confused. Was anyone else in Nobunaga's death? I'll give you a reward, so name yourself. I made sure no one else claimed responsibility and knelt down on the ground. I understand, but you too have said. So kneeled, I smiled to them. Princess, then... He reached out, and just as his face was starting to fill with joy, I took the blade from under his armpit and quickly stabbed it into his chest. Huh? I kicked his body and pulled out the sword. The other vassal saw as I drove it into his neck. Damn, I'm vicious. Ah! Blade stopped halfway in his neck, and the blood that sprayed out fell onto me. You fools. I showered in a rain of blood and spoke softly. You didn't even know the type of person you put your hands on. Nobunaga was a man who was supposed to control the entire world. No one could match his courage, his kindness. No one could replace him. The other vassals were overwhelmed and stood up straight. The two vassals were approaching death, blood flowing out. They twitched from time to time. I pulled out the bloody sword and turned to the room one last time. I stopped where Nobunaga's blood puddle was and looked at the remaining vassals, the people working with Kogoku. They won't let a chance like this slide. They'll attack. We probably couldn't use the mountain pass now, but I was sure they knew about that hidden fort too. I remembered a conversation I'd had with Nobunaga one night. If Kogoku knew about the fort of the ridge, they would do their best to avoid that road. It seems that the benevolent ruler, much unlike me, he doesn't like bloodshed. Then what would your next move be, Nobunaga? I would ally with the east and cross into their territory. It would be difficult for Kogoku to attack from the east, but they might take advantage of the country's dismay and arrange a marriage. If they did, the eastern countries would overlook a country going through Kogoku. While wearing socks, I stepped onto the puddle of blood and yelled, "Bring the horses! Hurry!" Yes! The vassals were in a flurry and ran. A rage stronger than my sadness swirled inside of me. No. If I didn't get angry, I wouldn't be able to live on. That was how hard parting with him was for me. A female ruler isn't such a bad thing. Do you things I couldn't fulfill? Yes, Nobunaga. It isn't bad at all. Why is it slowing down? I was sure I wouldn't have time to be sad while I fought to conquer the world. I was no longer a weak woman who would rely on a magical dagger. Nobunaga told me to take down the enemies that threaten my nation with my own hands. Then I would engulf this entire world. Please, watch over me. I rode one of the horses the vassals brought and gave an order on top of it. Return to the castle! Kogoku is coming to invade us. Hurry! All right then. Epilogue time. Oh my god, I so seriously cried. I wasn't expecting that. You don't remember, I'll never forget. Please tell me it's somewhere in this farthest Nobunaga. A few years later. Sorry for the wait. I'm Kaze. A messenger from a far-off land looked at me in amazement. After being taken aback for a moment, he panicked and thanked me. Please excuse my behavior. You look so different from the rumors I heard. Were you surprised? With all due respect, I was. I smiled and the messenger looked like he felt guilty for his actions. That makes sense. To the public, I'm a devilish female shogun. They call me with such harsh names. But in reality, I might actually have been a demon even before the demons invaded my nation. Since then, I continued to engulf the neighboring countries and enlarged my own. Now, all the land, as far as the eye could see, were all under my control. But you're so young and beautiful. Oh, you're too nice. I know this is rude to ask, but why did you go into battle when you had a frail female body? I'm sure you had many marriage proposals as well. Do you not think I'm very feminine? No, I never meant anything like that. Messenger panicked and smiled at me. No, it's fine. But I have this kid with me. This kid? When the messenger paused in between talking, lively footsteps echoed near us. Mom! The child jumped up to me and clung to me tightly. Come now. Oh God. Kimomaru promptly greeted her guest. Kimomaru finally realized we had a guest with us. Kimomaru fixed his posture and bowed his head. My name's Kimomaru. It's a mouthful. I'm pleased to meet you. My, that's a very polite greeting. Nobunaga gave me Kimomaru. He was our son. I put my hand on his head. The reason why my child and I stay on the battlefield is because of a promise I made to my late husband. He told me to take out my enemies with my own two hands. The messenger looked at me and seemed overwhelmed. He was silent. He made a face as he found out the woman he had underestimated was actually a poisonous snake. I softened my smile. Well then, shall we talk about the important business? I'll always be by your side. His dying words had never become a lie. Nobunaga left Kimomaru for me. I'm sorry, it's a very hard name. Kimomaru, oh my god. Plus the things he taught me when we were unfathomable. Nobunaga, please protect me until the day we meet again. Until that day came, I would be at war. Uh-huh. That was it. I was like just sitting here like, uh-huh. And? Well, I got a son out of it. Yay! All right, guys, that wraps up ending ending 1, however you want to call it. And I'll see you guys in ending 2 and then the extras. All right, bye, guys. I'll see you later. Kaze out.